Okay, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the Anderson Bros Outdoors. My name is Jake, and today we're going to talk about the Vanquish VRD carbon. All right, let's go ahead and kick this video off, shall we? So here in front of me I have the old Vanquish VRD carbon, the newest kit from Vanquish. I'm going to start this overview with the build information because I said I was going to record it. However, I didn't due to a variety of things. I was working on some other stuff, and so I had to go back and forth between building the truck and getting some other stuff done. That caused me not to get some footage. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. The book's pretty detailed. It gives you all of the information that you need. Just make sure that you have all of the required hardware for the installation. You use adequate grease, and if you don't want to use the supplied grease, use some generic weathering grease, and then make sure that you are utilizing the appropriate hardware. They do give you a diagram for whatever screw and or nut or bearing you're supposed to be using. You can slide that over that, and that is scale, and that is what you are to utilize. Other than that, everything is pretty straightforward. The only thing that wasn't necessarily straightforward was the transmission, putting it together, but you can get it done. So we got the box. We used almost everything out of here with a few exceptions. So you can see we did utilize a Ford F100 body. This is the first body I've ever done, FYI. I'm pretty happy with how it came out. It's pretty simple. It's a single color, and we're using the stickers from the kit. So it's not anything fancy by any means, but it will get the job done. I did add the little Rock Pirate roof rack for flare, and then I am working on a winch mount for the front that essentially replaces the front bumper there. That'll be on Thingiverse here shortly. Once I get it finalized, you can see I did add a little guiding hole for it so that way it stays on the spool. I don't know how you want to do it. You could actually run it upside down so you don't have to run it through your body, or you can cut a hole through the body. It doesn't really matter. Like I said, be on the lookout for that. It will be posted on Thingiverse and Cuts 3D in the near future. It might have already been released by the time that you see this video. So go check it out. Links in the description below. So in the body, yeah, it's pretty generic. I will be adding a cantilever to the roof rack for the winch. Let's talk a little bit about the truck and what I've chosen to do with it. There are numerous build videos on this already, so I'm not going to go into too much detail on everything, but I will state that there are a couple of differences between my truck and the stock truck. We'll start with the electronics. I'm using a NSDRC RS800 V2 servo. NSDRC is phenomenal. I'd check them out. We're not sponsored by them, but if they want to send me free stuff, I will certainly turn around and give it away to all of you guys. NSDRC has just been very good. It is a high voltage servo. I know other servo companies claim that they're high voltage, but this is legitimate. It is a 4S 14.8, I think is what it is, volt servo. So I'm actually running a 4S pack because I am running the Holmes Hobby revolver and a Castle Mini XLX2. I am running the Beck with the Mini XLX2, and then I'm utilizing the new Noble MB4 controller that I just got. It did end up being nice and tidy inside of there. You can see, you can't really see the receiver, so the receiver is nice and planted on this side. Now the differences and the things that I did add on, I didn't actually upgrade the axle housings yet. I will do that at some point. For the video and the head-to-head with the SCX-10, I didn't feel like that would be fair. I left the stock plastic axle housings. However, I did add, I had an extra set of metal incision drive shafts. I put those on there. I know that's not really fair, but it is what it is. I didn't want to put the plastic ones on because these look way better and they're a lot stronger. The other thing that I did is I added the underdrive to the rear diff. Again, it's not super fair for the head-to-head, but I didn't want to take it all apart and do it again. So the stock diff gearing that comes with this is an 8-tooth spool and a 30-tooth pinion. I did put the 8-tooth spool, 33-tooth pinion in the back, so it does have 3 additional teeth. I don't know what percentage that is. I'm definitely not a math wizard, so If you want to do the math, that's completely fine. Feel free to let me know in the comments below. Those are really the only two things that I did differently on this truck outside of what came with the kit. All in all, I'm really happy with how it came out. I did add some, I don't know what these are called, like NJX or DJX. They're already pre-assembled wheels, which is really nice because all I had to do was add my printed inserts and these Hyraxes on the tires and just throw them together. So the first thing I want to do is I want to take a weight of the truck on all fours with the battery and the cab on to see what it looks like in terms of weight distribution, front to rear and side to side. We found them all. They're all connected. We're already zeroed out, but we're going to go ahead and zero it out again. So now that we're zeroed, let's go ahead and put the truck on it. Takeaways from this, it is roughly 98 ounces with that 4S battery in it. 98 ounces is roughly 6.1 pounds. So the truck is right at 6 pounds. Which is a little heavier than I had anticipated it being. The left weight is right at 50%, the right weight is right at 50%. I mean, we're mere ounces off, not much at all. Now in terms of front to rear weight, you can see we're right at 57% in the front, 43% in the rear. I'd like to move that 3% up, and I think that that's going to happen once we put that servo for the winch up there. So I don't really have any concerns there. I don't know how much the battery weighs. We can pop that out real quick and check. The battery weighs 0.16 pounds or 2.6 ounces. Definitely not a very heavy battery. But like I said, I think putting the winch up here will definitely offset the front and give it more of that 60-40 weight distribution. That's where we want. Overall, pretty satisfied with how everything went together. So we're gonna go and hit the trail. Stay tuned. First truck's done that. We're going to interrupt this regularly scheduled video for an announcement because I did not talk about it in the review. You can see in front of us here we have both trucks, the SCX-10 Pro and the VRD Carbon. Before I talk about what I'm going to talk about, I am going to state that, hey, I have released some new 3D models on Thingiverse and Cuts 3D. This is for a cheap Traxxas kit here. You can see it holds all of your accessories. I have created another one for the more expensive Traxxas kit / MIPS tools. You can see these fit right in here like such, and they prevent your tool ends from being scratched or damaged. And then finally, I created this MIPS kit here. So this holds, again, your MIPS tools, slide right in there, print that out, have a clean workspace, and prevent your tools from getting banged up and beaten up. So one of the things that I want to talk about here real quick, the VRD Carbon's wheel slip that you just saw. So you might be thinking, okay, what was that? What broke? Well, actually, it's a very funny story. Nothing broke. So I was using the stock Hyrax tires with the plastic wheels and the foam inserts, and you can see here that the plastic wheel nut location, or this housing here that slides over the wheel nut to prevent it from spinning on the axle itself, it actually wallowed out and it was just spinning on that nut. We didn't actually break anything on the truck. It was the plastic wheel itself, and you can see here at the review that I did swap out to these metal wheels, and I did put some 3D printed inserts in there. Back to your regular schedule viewing. Uh-oh. Broke something. All right, that was quick. We're back. I'm just kidding. I already have footage of the truck. I've ran it already. You can see the scrapes and such on it. I do want to get into the review so I can get this video online so all of you can view it. First and foremost, I believe the truck is now in a pre-order status. Vanquish is having a truck of fortune. And I did read a post where one of the employees of Vanquish did or did not confirm that the VRD kits would be in the truck of fortune. So you may get one, you may not, who knows. However, they are pretty limited right now. And then the first batch is pretty much gone. If you can find one through somebody who ordered one, fantastic. Otherwise, you're going to be waiting for the next batch in the pre-order. But let's just dive right in. So the overall impression with the truck is it's fantastic. I think for the money you're spending, this is what I would have expected the truck to be. You're paying $429.99 for the kit. Obviously, the only difference is it's going to come with the slightly higher geared rear diff and then the plastic axles. There's not going to be anything wrong with any of it. And quite frankly, the plastic drive shafts. Quite frankly, the plastic drive shafts and the rear gear should be fine for the most part. I like a lot of overdrive in my trucks. That's just my style of driving. You may not, and there's nothing wrong with that. I will tell you that you need at least 20 to 30% overdrive to be competitive in any steep incline competitions. It is what it is. Moving into the performance side, I mean, you can see that it's a performer. It gets the job done. I mean, realistically, you get a set of the wheels and tires that you want, throw in the electronics that you want. I went on the lighter side with electronics, but you do have the ESC and the BEC as well. I think all together, I haven't actually weighed them, but I would guess that it's lighter than something like the Fusion Pro. The difference though is the Fusion Pro is putting all of the weight in the front underneath the transmission, whereas I do have weight above the transmission with the ESC, the BEC, and things of that nature. Pick your poison. This was readily available. I already had a Revolver and XLX2, and I ended up getting another Revolver and XLX2 for the SCX10 Pro, so I can do that head-to-head for everyone. The main thing that I want to talk about here is the chassis and the servo on axle mount. The chassis is phenomenal. It keeps the weight off being up high. So you have really next to no weight above your center of gravity, which is where you don't want the weight, and it's not there. So good job on that. And then really the biggest selling factor for me is the servo on axle. Too many times do I have kits that have a servo on the chassis and you've got a panhard mount. And the problem is that as you get to articulation, you go one way or the other, that servo is going to be way less effective because it's not going to have the throw that you want it to. Now, since the servo is on the axle, the servo is not moving away from the axle, right? So you're not gaining or losing a distance. So if I were to gain a distance, now that we'll just say the servo is connected to the right side of the truck or the right wheel, the passenger wheel. Now as you increase distance, in theory, that's not supposed to move because your panhard mount is supposed to stay the same. However, as you articulate past a certain point, you're going to be pulling the right side of that, you're going to be pulling that right tire and in turn the left tire to the left because of all of that articulation. And the same goes for the other way, right? As you articulate the other way, you're going to be pulling or pushing the tire one way or the other. And so it's just not as effective. And I think that realistically, the big problem with that chassis mount servo is that when you're at a steep incline and you go to turn left or right, you could potentially unload yourself and push yourself back. I will be purchasing 4-link kits and the axle mounted servos for all of my trucks that have the Vanquish style axles. I think that is a huge differentiator in the class 2 space, is that if you have a axle mounted servo, you're getting two very large benefits. First of all, you're getting the guaranteed steering angle, right? Because you're not going up and down with the servo. But the second thing is you're getting weight on that axle. So you don't actually have weight on your chassis, you have weight on the axle. So even if the chassis does unload, it's not nearly as bad because that weight isn't actually moving or shifting. It stays right there planted on that front axle. So really good things. Overall, super impressed with the truck, and I will very likely be running it very much. I'll be running it a lot more in the near future. Some of the footage that you watched was at the new house. It was at the new compound, we'll call it. I had some sandstone delivered, so I haven't really had time to do anything with it. I also haven't had assistance to do anything with it because some of those rocks are 100+ pounds, and let me tell you, I just don't have the strength to move them by myself or lift them up. I haven't had the time to get the course set up, but I did set up a little bit of a course. You can see in the footage, I set up some tires and then some rocks up to the tires, on the tires, and I call that the Tower of Power. I don't know why, it's just the first thing that came to my mind. And then you can see where the other rock was dumped, and I kind of found some lines and was playing with some of those lines. This weekend, I'm also going to be taking this to the favorite spot where I've done most of the reviews on the trucks before, at the spillway. And we're going to see what lines are out there and if we can imitate or emulate some of the lines that we did for the other trucks so we can do a comparison. At the same time we're doing that, we'll also be doing the head-to-head with the SCX10 Pro. So, overall, great truck. Highly recommend it. If you're just getting into RCing, if you want to get into competition crawling, this is the kit that I would buy for a number of reasons, but predominantly because it's got excellent parts and the upgrade path is just insane. You can get the billet axle housings, you can get billet transmission gearing, you can get replacement transmission gearing. There's just numerous things that you can do, and I would be willing to bet that at some point you'll be able to put the VFD twin in here, so if you want to add dig and overdrive to it and turn it into a class 3 truck, you'll be able to do that as well. The upgrade path is phenomenal, but for a brand new truck, I think they knocked it out of the park. So let's talk about the price point. Price point's $429.99. Obviously, they priced it exactly at a direct competitor or the direct competition. There's really only 2 truck kits out there, and we're going to put this one in a head-to-head versus the other one. Now, I know a lot of people are going to ask me, which one would you buy? I'm not going to get into that on this video. But I will state that I've got them both. I've spent a lot of time driving the other one. I'm going to spend a lot of time driving this one. Before the head-to-head even happens, I'm just going to tell you, buy what you want. If you feel like one is better than the other, go get it. It's all about having fun, and as long as you're having fun, that's all that matters. I'm going to close this video out. There's not a whole lot to tell on it. I mean, it's an awesome truck. You've seen the footage. The downside is you might have to wait to get one if you haven't gotten one already. Please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great day.